They call it the King James Bible, see, but never tell you who King James really was, because he was a black man. What? Yep. King James VI of Scotland, I of England, the one who authorized the Bible translation in 1611, wasn't white like they show in portraits later. No. Early paintings show him with dark features, wide nose, curly hair, and he came from a line of black Moors and Scottish nobility. But centuries later, artists started updating his image. Lighter skin, narrower nose, European eyes. You know the drill. Why they hide it? Because the idea of a black man authorizing the most printed book in history doesn't sit well with whitewashed narratives. But history is messy, and black royalty was real. They just don't want you to know that.
Has been widely portrayed as a fair-skinned man with blue eyes and flowing blonde hair. European artworks and religious depictions have shaped this perception, reinforcing an idea that has been deeply ingrained in global consciousness. But what if history tells a different story? What if the true depiction of Jesus, his mother Mary, and the people of this time were nothing like the images we've been shown? But before we dive in, make sure to subscribe to Africa Info Hub for more thought-provoking insights on history, geopolitics, and Africa's evolving landscape. Recently, Russia has opened centuries-old vaults and cellars, unveiling ancient religious paintings that challenge everything we thought we knew. These sacred icons, long hidden from public view, depict Jesus and biblical figures as black. This revelation not only shakes traditional religious teachings, but also raises profound questions about historical accuracy and why these depictions have been concealed for so long. Stay tuned as we uncover the shocking truth behind these Russian icons and what they reveal about the real identity of Jesus and his people. Recently, news surfaced that Russian President Vladimir Putin ordered the relocation of one of Russia's most sacred icons from a museum to a Moscow cathedral. This action sparked renewed interest in centuries-old religious artifacts stored in Russia's vaults. For years, these paintings remained locked away, but now, the world has a chance to witness them, fundamentally altering our understanding of Jesus, Mary, and biblical history. These paintings, known as Russian icons, are collections of hundreds of religious artworks depicting Jesus' era and his life. A renowned expert in Russian iconography, Father Vladimir Ivanov, has studied these paintings extensively. His research provides an in-depth look at the history, symbolism, and spiritual significance of these sacred artworks. While each painting is unique, they share one undeniable characteristic: Jesus, Mary, the apostles, and even angels are all depicted as black. One of the most famous Russian icons, Andrew Rublev's Trinity, illustrates the biblical story of three angels visiting the patriarch Abraham at the Oak of Mamre, a crucial event in the book of Genesis. Traditionally, this scene has been depicted with white figures. However, in these Russian icons, all three angels appear with dark, black complexions. Another famous painting, Savior in a Golden Riza, portrays Jesus Christ adorned in a golden metal covering called the riza, a traditional element in Orthodox Christian iconography. This artwork is particularly striking because Jesus is shown with a dark brown or black complexion, in stark contrast to the common European portrayals.
This is the book, The Negro Rulers of Scotland and the British Isles by Dr. John L. Johnson. Margaret, also called Mahari, married Walter Stuart VI and became the mother of Robert II, who became Scotland's first Stuart king. It was the Stuart dynasty that brought forth today's King James Version of the Bible, which was authorized and named after a black man named King James Stuart. The newly aged Euro scholars, governments, big businesses, and white supremacists have deliberately rewritten the history of Europe. The Europeans have barbarously burned, looted, and disfigured thousands of old African European royal paintings, sculptures, and public works in order to erase any evidence of an early Negro African dominance. There wasn't one nation in Europe that was free of a Negro black blood superior rule of supremacy that ended following the French Revolution. Every painted portrait of Europe's royal families was of Negro ancestry. They were black-skinned African Moors who paraded their dark complexion as a badge of honor, pride, privilege, and royalty. It was not unusual for lighter blacks and whites to walk around in blackface in order to look more upper class. Many of today's images of the black rulers of Europe are falsely propagandized as white people. King James VI. This colored king was the first to unite the British Isles and Scotland, which then became Great Britain. His name is the most well-known of all European kings, since he authorized the King James Version of the Bible. Check this out. His 6 feet, dark-skinned and big-nosed wife, Anne of Denmark, was who praised her darkness and the beauty of being black. This is the book, The Negro Question, Part 4, The Missing Link by Lee Cummings. Professor Boyd Dawkins, Professor of Geology, Manchester University, London, 1879. The original people of Britain, France, Spain, and England were short black men of about 5 feet 6 inches in height. They were in England when our fathers, white English, invaded the land in 449 AD. I'm going to read the bold part. These black people boasted that they were citizens of the Roman Empire. Evidence of their civilization can be seen all over the continent of Europe, as well as throughout the British Islands, extending as far as the Germany and Switzerland and even to France and Spain. These black people originated from the Iberian Peninsula and are a fragment of the old Spanish population. They were in France, Spain, Ireland, Britain, and Scotland. Chapter 2, The Scottish Kings of England. It's King James. I know that this image of a black King James can be a little confusing because of your Western education, but this is the truth. King James came from a long line of a black Scottish Stuart kings. 343 years of rulership in Scotland, the Stuarts not only ruled in Scotland, they ruled France, Spain, Ireland, and England, Britain, and Wales. King James was able to rule all of these lands because of of all these people were Iberian black descent. King Charles II, King of the Scots, the son of King Charles I, which is King James's grandson, right? Whose name was Black Boy. He was the king of England, Wales, France, Scotland, Spain, and Ireland. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 1, verse 1, the revelation of Jesus Christ. The revelation of Jesus Christ, which God, the Most High, Yahweh, gave unto him, right? John the Revelator, to show unto his servants things which must surely come to pass. So this is a vision sent by the Most High God. This verse 13. This is a revealing of Jesus Christ, the Messiah, Yahushua in the Paleo Hebrew. Verse 13, and in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot, and girt about the paps with a girdle girdle. Verse 14, his head and his hairs were white like wool. So Jesus Christ's hair on his face and on his head were wool and the color of white, but they was gray because he was type of an older man, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire. Verse 15, and his feet, your feet is the same color of your body, and his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burn in a furnace. So Yahushua, Jesus Christ, the color of his skin was fine brass, as it was burned in a furnace. Burnt brass. Do you see the color of burnt brass? Now it said that Jesus Christ's hair was wool, correct? Share my screen. This is Roget's International Thesaurus, 3rd edition, established 1834. Negro, colored person, black, blackamoor, Jim Crow slang U.S., darky, Sambo, ebony, the image of God. Compact edition of the Oxford English Dictionary. having hair resembling wool, applied especially to Negroes, woolly haired or headed. Two of the natives were black with woolly heads. When we keep reading, it says bearded Jew and woolly African met the brown Hindu. So you see how woolly hair links up with the Negroes link up with woolly hair. The image of God is a Negro, black. Now let's see if God had woolly hair, because we just read that Negroes have woolly hair, right? This is the book of Daniel, chapter 7, verse 9. I beheld till the thrones were cast down. In the Ancient of Days, the Ancient of Days is the Most High God, because he's older than days. He created time and days. He exists before anything. Did sit. So God has a butt. Whose garment? God has a garment on. He has a body. Was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. So you see that the Most High God had hair like the pure wool. Who on this earth have woolly hair? Negroes, black people. So the Most High God is described as a black man. Jesus Christ is described as a black man with woolly hair, which would be the bearded Jews. Let's go to the Mishnah. The Mishnah. This is Jewish. This is a Jewish text. Mishnah Nagim, chapter 2 and 1. We're going to start with where it says Rabbi. Rabbi Ishmael says, the children of Israel, may I be atonement for them, are like boxwood, neither black nor white, but of an intermediate shade. Now let's see what that shade is of boxwood. This is boxwood. So the Israelites are so-called black people, brown-skinned. Jesus Christ is a dark-skinned man, woolly hair, like a Negro today. Even the Most High God is a so-called black man, dark-skinned man with woolly hair, like a Negro today. The Israelites, the father of the Israelites, Yahweh, are so-called black people, dark-skinned people with woolly hair. Today, there will be the Negroes. Today, there will be the Hispanics and the Native Americans. This is the book, a treatise of physical geography, compromising hydrology, geology, meteorology, botany, zoology, and anthropology by A. Barrington. I'm going to read the highlighted part. Thus, the Jews are a people who have ever, according to the prophecy, dwelt alone, without intermixing with the nations. To this day, now this separate race, all descended from black ancestors. No, Salakia, from brown ancestors, right? The color of boxwood. For Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob must have been as dark as Mar Yohanan, if not darker. Exhibit every shade of color from the black Jews of Malabar. Let's see the color of the angels. This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 1. We're going to start at verse 5. Also, out of the midst thereof came like the likeness of 4 living creatures, and this was their appearance. They had the likeness of a man, right? So these creatures are the heavenly angels. And every one had 4 faces, and every one had 4 wings. And their feet were straight feet, and the sole of their feet was like the sole of a calf's foot. And they sparkled like the color of burnished brass. These are the color of the heavenly angels. Burnished brass. Let's get more scriptures. This is the book of Job 30, verse 30. This is a Job. This is a prophet of the Most High God. This is an Israelite. Job chapter 30, verse 30. My skin is black upon me. That's what Job said. My skin is black upon me, and my bones are burned with heat. Let's get the book of Song of Solomon. Chapter 1, verse 5. We're going to start at verse 1. The Song of Songs, which is Solomon's. Verse 5. I am black, but comely, O you daughters of Jerusalem, as the tents of Kedar, as the curtains of Solomon. It's the book of Lamentations, chapter 4, verse 7. Sorry, Salakia. Lamentations 4, verse 7. Her Nazarites, now we know that Nazarites are men that took the Nazarite vow. You can read that in the book of Numbers, chapter 6. Were purer than snow. They were whiter than milk. That don't mean they were Caucasian, pale-skinned people. It's talking about their attributes, their characteristics, their behavior. They were more ruddy in body than rubies. No, it's not saying they were red. You gotta read this whole part and understand correctly. They were more ruddy in body than rubies. When you look at a ruby, it is cut right. It is shaped right. So these Nazarites was in shape right? Looking muscular and cut like an athlete today. And they also had characteristics and a behavior that was whiter than milk and purer than snow. Let's finish it off. Their polishing was of sapphire. Verse 8, their visage is blacker than a coal. What does that mean? Let's look up this word visage in the Hebrew. Their appearance, their countenance was blacker than a coal. And elaborates, they are not known in the streets, their skin. So these Nazarites, these Israelites were dark-skinned people. Acts chapter 13, verse 1. Now there were in the church that was at Antioch certain prophets and teachers, as Barnabas and Simeon, that was called Nigger. We know that the prophets are Israelites when you read Amos chapter 2, verse 11. Only the prophets can be Israelites. Only the Israelites could be prophets, right? And they were also teachers. Teachers of what? Teachers of the law. Teachers of the Bible. Barnabas was an Israelite, a Jew. Simeon was an Israelite, a Jew. That was called nigger. Let's go into this Greek and see what this means. Nigger, black. This is a Latin word for black. And Lucius of Cyrene. Wait, ain't Cyrene in Africa? In Manaean. Let's get the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 14, verse, bear with me. Salakia. Chapter 16, verse 12. This is speaking about King David. This is 1 Samuel chapter 16, verse 12. And he sent and brought him in. Now he was ruddy and with all of a beautiful countenance and goodly to look to. And Yahweh said, arise and anoint him, for this is he. Let's look at this in other translations. In the NLT, let's see what it says. So Jesse sent for him. He was dark and handsome, just like what his son said, Solomon, chapter 1, verse 5. I am black but comely, with beautiful eyes, and Yahweh said, this is the one, anoint him. Let's look at another translation. That's why it's good to compare these translations. I'm looking for the ISV, the International Version. The International Version says the same thing. For Samuel 16, verse 12 in the International Standard Version. So he sent and brought him. He had dark, healthy complexion with beautiful eyes, and he was handsome. The Lord said, get up, anoint him, for this is the one. Let's get the book of Jeremiah, chapter 8, verse 21. See what Jeremiah said. Jeremiah 8, verse 21. For the hurt of the daughter of my people, I am hurt. I am black. Astonishment have taken hold of me. Let's get Moses. Let's get Moses. We could go to Exodus 4. Exodus 4, we're going to start at verse 6. When the Lord performed a miracle with Moses. Exodus chapter 4, verse 6. And the Lord said furthermore, and the Lord said furthermore unto him, put now thy hand into your bosom. And he put his hand into his bosom. And when he took it out, behold, his hand was leprous as snow. Verse 7. And he said, put thy hand into thy bosom again. And he put his hand into his bosom again and plucked it out of his bosom. And behold, it was turned again as his other flesh. So Moses had to been a dark-skinned, brown-skinned man for Yahweh to reveal this miracle, to do this miracle, and to show that this miracle was official. Let's get further proof that Moses was a dark-skinned man. This is the book of Exodus, chapter 2, verse 16. Exodus chapter 2, verse 16. Now the priest of Midian had 7 daughters, and they came and drew water and filled their troughs to water their father's flock. And the shepherds came and drove them away, but Moses stood up and helped them and watered their flock. And when they came to Reuel, their father, he said, how is it that ye come so soon today? This is what his daughter said, verse 19. And they said, an Egyptian delivered us out of the hand of the shepherds, and also drew water enough for us and watered the flock. Why would they say that Moses was an Egyptian? Because the Egyptians was a dark-skinned race. The ancient Egyptians was a dark-skinned race. Moses looked just like an Egyptian because he was black. He was dark-skinned. He was a Hebrew. He was an Israelite from the tribe of Levi. Today, that would be the so-called Haitians. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 2, verse 7. And the Lord God formed men of the dust of the ground. What color is the dust of the ground? All types of brown. All types of dark brown, light brown. Right? All types of brown. All praises to the Most High God. Let's get one more through the Spirit. Lamentations chapter 5, verse 10. Lamentations chapter 5, verse 10. Our skin was black like an oven because of the terrible famine. See that? The Israelites, the Judites, their skin was black. Their skin was dark skin. Only dark-skinned people skin could turn blacker than what it is because of starvation. But these are talking about the Israelites, the Judites. And the reason why our images, our photos, our sculptures, our paintings was changed into white people, Caucasian people painted white and pink and red. It's because of the propaganda, the agenda, the crafty counsel, the deception to hide our identity, so we could be the victims of imposter syndrome, right? Self-hate, loss of identity, loss of culture, tradition, ethnicity, nationality, race. We don't know that we come from a royal, rich family. We don't know that we are the children of the only true living God, Yahweh. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 12, verse 9. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. Right? In context, it's talking about the Roman Empire. This is talking about the Edomite kingdoms, the Edomite Caucasian race. They deceived the whole world. How they do that? This is the book of First Maccabees, chapter 3, verse 46. Wherefore the Israelites assembled themselves together and came to Mizpah over against Jerusalem, for in Mizpah was the place where they prayed aforetime in Israel. Then they fasted that day and put on sackcloth and cast ashes upon their heads and rent their clothes. Verse 48. And laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images. That is called iconoclasm. That is called iconoclasm. Iconoclasm is the deliberate destruction of religious icons and other symbols of monuments, often for religious and political reasons.